Wow. Vice President Kamala Harris has finally sat down for her first major formal and informal, if you ask me, interview with CNN anchor Daniel Bush. This is her first major interview after 40 days of being announced as the replacement for Joe Biden. She decided to have this interview because of so much pressure that has been mounted on her from everyone, from the mainstream media to the local citizens that have been asking to hear from her. So she has finally summoned up courage to do her first interview. In this interview, I've seen it already. I've watched it from the beginning to the end, and I can say that it was very, very friendly for her. The environment looks scripted because there are times where it looks as if she was reading from a script or something. And Dana Bash was not really asking her tough questions, or just asking her very friendly questions that she could answer. Secondly, the whole idea of her having an interview with her running mate by her side does not speak like she has courage. It looks like her running mate was put with her so as to avoid her making unnecessary mistakes or say something that she might end up regretting. That's why he was there to give her emotional support. That's what it looks like. Because Donald Trump has been going from one station to another, from one podcast to the other, giving interview without anybody being with him. For Kamala Harris, it was quite different. Why different? Because it's obvious that she cannot do her own interview by herself. Without wasting so much time, let's go into the interview and hear what she has to say to the American people. But before we do that, please, if this is your first time in the channel, please like and subscribe to this channel. So let's go straight into the video and hear what Vice President Kamala Harris has to say.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Did you just hear that? She was asked, what would you do in your first day in office? And she left that question and started talking about Donald Trump. Something they didn't ask you to say. You just had to find a way to bring in Donald Trump into this conversation. I like the way Dana Bash had to remind her of the question again. She told her, Madam Vice President, please stay on point. What are you going to do in your first day in office? So please answer the question. Be focused.
One, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
Talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it.
Madam Vice President, you were just asked, how would you do to reduce the price of groceries? And you quickly blamed it on Donald Trump. You said the inflation, you said his policies, you said he didn't do things well, you inherited a bad economy, and you and the president have reduced the inflation gap to 3%. That's what you just said. And now you flip-flopped again and said, you know that yes, the price of groceries are high. So where do you stand, madam? We don't get to understand you. You've said this. Donald Trump is the cause, and now you agreed that your government has been the one that has not done anything to bring down the price of groceries down. Madam, please, we are confused.
Which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited. I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that any longer.
You maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
So if you've made this stance that say you're not going to ban fracking, why is it that the Republicans are still bringing up this same issue where you said you're going to ban fracking? So it means something's not adding up. It means that one party is actually not telling the truth. Because I don't see any reason why, if you said that you're not going to ban fracking, and your opponents are saying that that is what you said, they have you on record where you're saying you're going to ban fracking, the thing is not adding up. What you're just saying is that it's really not adding up, and I feel that you really need to clarify yourself and re-explain yourself about what you just said.
In 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking.
Their issue, big one, is immigration. Mm-hmm. As vice president, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
northern part of Central America.
The northern part of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. Mm-hmm. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. Mm-hmm. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill.
I don't think anybody who has been following this border crisis very well will agree with what she has said about her position on the border, or how she has brought in stock investment, and how she has reduced the number of migrants crossing into the United States. We know that she just need to say something. But when you look at it, you see that she really did not say anything concerning the immigration that she was asked about. She just saying something because she knows she's in a friendly network and no one will ask her a follow-up question. So she just said something that will just please the host that was asking her the question, because the whole interview just looks set up. It looks like something that has been prearranged. It looks like something that the questions to the interview must have been given to her long before she came, hours before she came down for the interview.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. A question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here, in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed.
And that is what politicians do. They say things that are unrealistic. They say things that they really won't do. They just want to just say something, and that is what you do. That is what you have done. You've just you're just saying things. You're just picking up things as they go. You know that what you are saying is not really what you intend to do or what you want to do, but you just want to say something. So the American people are not surprised that you keep changing your stance every now and then. So if any right-thinking citizens is listening to what you are saying, will know that it will be so difficult for you to just immediately change your position. When you are pressured, you change your position. That's what it means. When you are pressured, it means that you cannot withstand pressure. So when you are pressured, you bring out something, you say something, or you change. You now quickly denounce what you have said in the past or what you have just said now. That is what it means. That is what the American people will take from your policy flip-flop. So guys, what do you think about this interview? Do you really think that she have convinced you enough that she's capable of doing the job of a president? Are your doubts being are your doubts being put to rest? Are you now comfortable with what you've heard from Vice President Kamala Haris? If you are, please drop your opinions in the comment section. Let's know if you believe that what she's saying is what she's actually going to do, or you don't believe her at all. And please also like and subscribe to our video, and thanks for watching.